Williams really got in the streets in '92. Around that time, after breaking out of juvenile, he shot a man with a Mac 11 for a local gangster and friend, Eric Maurice. He did it for free to prove himself. It was his first shooting, and he was addicted after that.
Yeah, whoa.
Todd-Town family, what's the biz? Y'all already know what it is, man. Sending that positive energy to my Todd-Town family. Y'all know how I rock. If you haven't already, please hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification button so you can stay up to date with the latest and greatest content you don't want to miss. Tune in. Anywho, without further ado, welcome to Todd-Town.
Terrance Gangsta Williams was born in the 70s to a father who had 25 children from different women. One of these children was his half-brother, Brian "Birdman" Williams, founder of Cash Money Records. Williams was born in New Orleans' infamous Magnolia Projects, quite possibly the worst zip code in the US at the time, a violent and depraved place. Growing up, Williams had a distant relationship with his dad and siblings because of his frequent stints in juvenile prison, somewhere he first went at age 9. He then started selling weed and stealing cars at 11. His brother Brian was close to his brother Eldrick Wise, and they'd hustle on the streets together. They inspired Williams to get in the streets himself. Weed, heroin, and crack were big when Williams was growing up, and he got into selling crack after his friend Mosquito started selling. His brother Eldrick Wise was killed in '91. It remains unsolved. This didn't deter Williams, though. Outside his family, everyone around him was a bad influence. They taught him how to hustle, kill, and be a good criminal. New Orleans hoods were heartless in the '90s, and killing and conflict were normalized. Local hitmen competed for who could do the grisliest murder. Williams recalls seeing someone shot down, blasted to mush with an AK-47, and the paramedics scraping him off the ground. Williams really got in the streets in '92. Around that time, after breaking out of juvenile, he shot a man with a Mac 11 for a local gangster and friend, Eric Maurice. He did it for free to prove himself. It was his first shooting, and he was addicted after that. Williams looked up to another notorious gangster growing up, Blackie Moe, a teen he claimed had 15 murders under his belt, some of which he witnessed himself. A core memory he repeatedly recounts in his interviews is seeing Blackie Moe saw a dead body to pieces at age 15.
What was the most vicious thing you ever saw?
I seen somebody get cut up before. I seen, yeah.
Like cut up like what? With like a switchblade or like?
No, with a saw.
A saw. Oh,
yeah,
body parts
that
off.
before. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Now wait. What scenario were you in to have?
Say again?
What scenario were you in to have seen some devilish shit like that?
Man, bro, it's a situation. The old head is deceased. Both of them is deceased who played a part in this. But I seen that and I was like, wow, I'm talking about they like literally took the hand and went to cutting them. Like, what the world? But yeah.
What part came off? Like,
the arm, they started from the arm, they hit the arm, legs. I saw him cut a head.
To keep his mind sharp in the streets, Blackie Moe didn't do drugs, drink, or smoke, and taught Williams to do the same. After dealing for a while, Williams also decided that he hated selling drugs. He preferred shooting, robbing, and taking hits. The rate for a hit was typically 10 to 20 grand, plus drugs sometimes. Blackie Moe would die at age 21 in a targeted shooting. But again, the violent demise of someone close to him did little to shake Williams up. Williams built a violent reputation in the streets, and while in juvenile, another respected gangster from the Magnolia, Elvin "Killer Stone" Nelson, gave Williams his nickname, Lil Gangsta. The Hot Boys crew was formed in '94 and comprised of Magnolia hitmen Gangsta, Dooney, Sterling, and Mosquito. They went by the motto, "We don't bust raps, we bust caps." The term Hot Boy was local slang that implied both notoriety and popularity, with the hood, cops, enemies, or females. They had all the jewelry, girls, and the latest cars. They were all about stunting and having fun in the moment. Gangsta was known to throw money out the window around the city. In the '90s, The Hot Boys had beef with other projects like St. Thomas, but regardless, they thought they were untouchable. They prided themselves in on-site shootings and striking the enemy first. If they got shot at, they'd go shooting their enemies at random. And unlike some other cities, they used to walk up unmasked, so they'd make sure they hit their target. They didn't do drive-bys. They wrought so much havoc that by the end of '94, Gangsta had been arrested for murder 6 times, but the cases kept getting dropped. He even claims to have blackmailed a detective who was trying to convict him for a murder he didn't do. He had a female record the detective confessing to falsely arresting Gangsta. After that, he had the detective arrest certain drug dealers so he could steal their drug stashes and money. Callio, another major project and one of America's worst, and the Magnolia used to be united. The Callio was also home to the Miller brothers, otherwise known as Master P, Silk the Shocker, and C Murda. Rappers from No Limit Records, a New Orleans hip-hop powerhouse at the time. Unbeknownst to the Hot Boys, a war was brewing, and one night, Gangsta was almost killed in an attempted shooting. 2 nights later, his friend Mosquito was shot 18 times at the Callio projects. His death kicked off a war. Callio Slim, an enforcer for No Limit and friend to Master P, was the alleged shooter. Sterling would later be killed while hanging with Gangsta at the Iberville projects. He was shot several times after an ambush and foot chase. Gangsta claims that the war was 30 versus 3. He and friends OG Blabber and Hot Bezo against the Callio. Callio Slim didn't live much longer and was shot over 20 times in front of the Rose Tavern bar. Gangsta is said to have been responsible for the murder of Callio Slim, something that would later be proven false in jail in a peace brokering meeting between Gangsta and T-Dub, Callio Slim's cousin. The meeting officially squashed the beef. Ultimately, the Callio vs. Magnolia War was part of the reason No Limit never clicked up with Cash Money. Brothers Birdman and Slim launched Cash Money Records in '91. Gangsta wasn't involved or interested in the music business himself. He was all about fast street money, though his brother Slim would encourage Gangsta to get out of the streets. Years later in '97, Gangsta claims to have come up with the name for Cash Money's breakout rap group himself, the Hot Boys, something he has never been compensated for. He also claims to have given BG, short for Baby Gangsta, his stage name. Gangsta was there from the start and could see the prodigy in the then 14-year-old Lil Wayne when the Hot Boys were kicking off. He played the role of an enforcer and had to check other rap crews and tell them to keep the dissing in the studio. When they toured, Gangsta would do heroin deals in different cities while the Hot Boys were performing. He claims he was making more money than Cash Money at the time, 40 to 50K a day selling heroin. Plausible, because Cash Money was still a local act and not the hit factory it would grow to be a few years later. In fact, he was making so much that a rumor started that he had invested in Cash Money. Gangsta claims Birdman knew exactly what he was doing, but he paid him so he'd be quiet about it. For that reason, to this day, he feels like he had made some investment in Cash Money. He has still never been compensated. By '98, Gangsta's heroin enterprise grew big enough to get him involved with connects from Brooklyn, New York. He and a friend would fly to Brooklyn to meet them for the first time.
So, when we go to New York, we flew into the John F. Kennedy Airport. We went to the Howard Johnson Hotel, and we caught a cab from there to this restaurant. Me and Blabber, OG Blabber. So we in this restaurant, and they got these 2 pretty Latino women. Man, I'm talking about beautiful. So I'm telling the connect. I'm like, listen. I said, me, one girl. She's like, later, we talk about that later. I'm like, all right now, but I want the girl now, man. I ain't worrying about the drug right now. I'm here now, I want her. So we go in the back of the restaurant. It's 3 of them. It's 1 light-skinned, 2 light-skinned, 1 your color dog. He's the head one. And as we talking, now back then, ounces of heroin was $2,500 back in New York back then. So he's trying to charge us $4,500. I'm like, man, I didn't came here for that. But I'm like, okay, I'm from out of town, so he's trying to treat me. I'm out of towner, right? Yeah. But now, in my mind, I'm a gangster, right? So I'm getting a little upset, so we kind of like arguing a little bit, right? But I had to catch myself. I was like, hold up. Bro, you don't have a stick pin on you. You way in New York, nobody don't know you out here, and you in the back of a restaurant. It's like about 3 a.m. So They get the drugs. Blabber test it, and we on this side of the restaurant, and Blabber we about to little deep fry it. So the man said, "See, told you it's good." So Blabber ducked it that like, "It's all right, ain't all that." I said, "When he say that, it's good." So we negotiated the price, so we go up front. So the man section, he got me away from Blabber. He put me at this table and got Blabber at the table over there, talking to the other people. He said, me like you. Him no like, no trust. So, but I'm like, this is my brother you talking about. You talking about you don't like you. All right, we're going to get you. All right, I got something for you. So we work a deal out. I had while I'm owing him $1,000. So we got the heroin. We went back to, we flew out there, but we got on the Greyhound to go back.
They made a partnership, and the Connects loved Gangsta because he'd sell their product fast. They planned on having him take over the whole New Orleans market. They also planned to visit New Orleans, but Gangsta had already made plans to lure them to a house, tie them up, and kill them. Something he unwisely discussed on his wiretapped phone. Gangsta had a separate Nokia and had wrongly thought his phone couldn't be tapped. It had taken the feds 3 months to get authorization to tap his phone. On March 6th, 98, before he could do the planned hit, Gangsta was arrested by an FBI tactical unit, and when the feds catch you, they have a 99% conviction rate. Birdman paid $20K for his lawyer, but surprisingly, Gangsta was offered 3 years to rat on Birdman and cash money. The prosecutors had it out for Birdman. They were convinced that cash money was a front for illegal activity. He was the one they really wanted. The feds also wanted him to confess to cold case murders to reduce his sentence, but he understood that doing that may have gotten him killed in the streets. Eventually, he confessed to killing 40 people himself and confessed to murders that his friends Sterling and Mosquito had done. They were already dead. In the end, he was charged with continual criminal enterprise and sentenced to life. He was 23. It was a charge typically reserved for kingpins, though Gangsta wasn't even pushing that much weight to begin with. At that time, he had no clue how the legal system worked, and today he feels like he was played. He was never actually convicted of murder. The fact that he'd never see his hometown again didn't really hit him till Hurricane Katrina in 2005. In '99, while inside, he started his own record label, Shot Caller Records, with various artists that made up Uptown superstars. They'd release one album under the label called No More Dreams. Gangsta would call in from jail to appear on the intro and outro.
It's an uptown thing, nigga. From the 3 to the 13. As I proceed to hit the motherfucking weed.
Yo, what's up, Wardy?
Just getting how I live, baby.
Man, what's up with these clowns out here talking about they too cold to be a hot boy?
Hey, bro, whatever. Gangster, killer, hustler, however you want to nickname yourself, say something like that. That only mean one thing. That little girl inside, I'm getting grown, very mannish, and sassy.
Bro. Man, you started your own record company from jail, dog.
For sure, baby.
Man, you gotta be stopped.
Hey, playboy, I can't be stopped.
Gangsta, man, what's coming up next, dog?
I'm trying to get Cash Money, Shot Caller, Sugar Slim to co-sign for me.
Co-sign for what?
Playboy, I'm trying about a Superdome and have a DJ on a ferry.
Gangsta, how the hell you gonna pull that off from jail, dog?
It don't start when a player get popped. But see, bro, I want to send a shout out to all my people who stuck with me with this album, who helped me out, my family, much love to all my homies that did always stay in my heart. And right now, bro, I'm about to go jump in my jacuzzi in the cell, bro.
For sure, bro. You laying that ballin' back down, huh?
Hey, bro, like I said, bro, my money long, bro, you know, and with the help of Cash Money, bro, I can't be stopped, bro. Shot Caller Records on their way, baby.
Shot Caller for life, bro. You know, neighborhood superstars, baby. You know, we coming out, man, for the 99, you heard me?
Hey, bro, I got a high-leg Cadillac and Monty, bro. Made figure records, bro. They on their way, too, bro.
For sure, bro.
And that nigga Mo-Boy in here laying low with me, you heard me?
All top, bro.
And we just laying low, letting everybody out there get this shine on. And you know what, bro? You know what I might do? Next for the new millennium? For the prettiest female, bro, I might let her come visit me, bro. You heard me? I'm gonna hook on Q93. I might give her to come visit me.
That's all good, you heard me?
I'm out, baby.
Gangsta claims he could have signed Lil Wayne after a convo with Birdman about his Hot Boys rights. Allegedly, Birdman wouldn't give him any money, so he asked to sign Lil Wayne, who was still 17 and not a mainstream act yet. This never materialized. Not long after his sentence though, Cash Money signed a $30 million deal with Universal. Cash Money blew up after that and was a mainstay in 2000s hip-hop. A lot of major artists came up under Birdman, and Lil Wayne went on to sell hundreds of millions of records. Birdman cut his brother off after 6 months in prison because he was allegedly moving drugs in prison with the money he sent him. Birdman didn't need any more heat from the cops, especially with Cash Money finally picking up steam. The rest of Gangsta's people took care of him during his sentence. New Orleans murders dropped significantly when Gangsta was locked up. On the streets, the Dooney Boys emerged under Doonies, the only hot boy left. Leadership after Sterling and Mosquito were killed, and Gangsta went to prison. Dooney ran the drug trade at the Magnolias with an iron fist, and it bred internal tension. In May 2000, a younger Magnolia resident shot Dooney, and he later died in the hospital. That was the end of the OG Hot Boys. After spending 23 years and 10 months in prison, Gangsta was released in 2022. The reason was never made public. Gangsta claims to have studied law in prison and appealed his sentence. He came back to a world where all his old enemies were dead and his 2 kids grew up without him. He was met with resentment when he came home because some people felt like he had snitched. But Gangsta doesn't feel that way because no one has ever been convicted because of him. Gangsta is now a YouTuber and has plans to break into the movie industry. He claims that a lot of people lie on his name on the internet, with many snitching allegations, but he only entertains the internet drama because he gets paid to. Today, Gangsta prefers to be called Terrance Civilian Williams. He has no regrets or bad dreams about his past because all the dirt he did went by the street code. All he's done still hasn't hit him to this day. He thinks he might have a problem.
Hey man, that was great content. That was pretty good. There was a lot of interesting information in there that I, found out for the first time. I want to mention something he mentioned at the very end when he said he doesn't feel any remorse or regret because he kept it to the street code. And listen, I'm not condoning anything, and I'm not pushing any of the street code, none of that. But that was something I always went by. And I mentioned that, I say that to say that in one of my past videos, I said that's why these young kids, these young so-called gangsters, these street dudes ain't making it like that. Cause y'all not keeping it to the streets. I'm watching these videos, y'all robbing women, old women, like messing with innocent people that have nothing to do with the business that you got going on. That's not hood, that ain't gangster, that ain't street. I see a lot of that going on nowadays. Like I say, not to bring up anything from my past, but that was not how it was. Like I said, we kept everything where it was. You get what I'm saying? So, him saying that, and I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but that was my mentality. You know what I'm saying? We weren't going out here messing with no innocent people. You know what I mean? Robbing innocent people and women running up in people's house. Like, nah. But you playing an even game, and to an extent, that's fair. And I feel like that was what made it different for a lot of people that do kind of turn a leaf and make it. But when you out here calling yourself a gangster, a killer, this or that, but you messing with people that's not even a part of the code, like how? How does that make any sense? How do you even feel? But I don't even understand. Like I say, man, that's some crazy stuff, man. Anywho, man. Hey, that was a great film right there, man. Some quite. Like I say, I'm not condoning none of that. You know what I'm saying? I just want that to be clear. But yeah, man. Hey, I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Another one, Todd-Town. I want to appreciate all the love and the support, everybody that's rocking. I see it. If you haven't already, please hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification button so you can stay up to date with the latest and greatest content. And as always, I'm checking out. Peace. Yeah. Whoa.